Eddie is clear of Benjamin politics. I am. I'm beyond him. I'm on PragerU now. Seabass is still making like 3 videos on you per day. Interesting. See, you're all updating me on the people on TikTok who talk about me. Because, like I said, I really don't even know. Like, Benjamin Politics, you say I'm clear of him. He could have made a video about me every day for the past year, and I wouldn't know. I just ignore him, but... You like the tweet about Bernie supporting the bombing of Yugoslavia. Yeah. That was James's tweet? Yeah. Yeah, it was a critique of Bernie for bombing Yugoslavia. Oh, was James critiquing me for calling Yugoslavia a socialist state? Probably. Because they had legitimate human rights abuses under Milosevic that were used as the justification for the NATO bombing. So, probably someone I don't know, maybe James did a video adding nuance, but if it's a critique, it's probably a critique that I agree with. So, Bernie is amazing by American standards, but he has criticisms. Yeah, and I mean, amazing by American standards is like the lowest bar ever. So he's really not that amazing at all. He's all right, but hope all is well. Thank you. Hey, fam, proud of you. Thank you. I'm proud of you, too. Much love for the audience. I'm proud of you all. I imagine the kind of mass hate that I get also probably trickles down to y'all. Dang, nice cam. Oh, thank you. Yes, I got a camera. React on stream, free content. Oh, there you go. There's a good idea. I have TikTok on my desktop, too. All right, we'll react to James Gets Political. His video about me. James and I have quite a few disagreements. He's more of like a DSA type. What's up, Gannon? But we'll see here.
So we're doing a leftist infighting today, and that's
all right. Here we go. So this is me.
Because this morning I woke up to
Okay. Let me mute my microphone so y'all can hear it.
this tweet on my timeline. That tweet in and of itself bothered me for a number of reasons. My myriad of disagreements being best summed up by a colleague of mine who said even if we assume pre-1990 Yugoslavia was a multi-faith, multi-ethnic utopia, it wasn't. In 1999, Yugoslavia was a chauvinist, ethno-nationalist, kleptocratic regime that had already sponsored a genocide in Bosnia and was actively carrying out a genocide in Kosovo. But I want to move past that because it's really indicative of a larger problem that I've been seeing in some leftist circles. And that's that I think some leftists mistake something being anti-US with something being inherently good in its own right. And that mentality sometimes drives some of us to defend genuinely abhorrent shit. And NATO bombings in the post-Yugoslavian sphere are a very good example of that. You can very easily criticize the bombings in '99 because they were problematic for a myriad of reasons. But in doing so, you don't have to defend or act as an apologist for a Serbian ethno-nationalist government that was guilty of multiple genocides. And doing so is not the principled take you think it is. But yeah, thankfully none of my colleagues were ridiculous enough to like this. Oh wait, god damn it. So we're doing a leftist infighting today.
Oh shoot, sorry. That's funny. He showed James showed me at the end liking the tweet. Yeah. So the person who tweeted that about Yugoslavia is a writer for Midwestern Marks. Okay, I came here instead. Oh, nice. Thank you. Sorry, I was catching up on the comments. So the girl who made that tweet about Yugoslavia is one of the youth league writers for Midwestern Marks. She's like 16 years old. Which, you know, not that James was directing his audience at hating that person, but, I mean, yeah, she's 16, so, it was a decent critique, and like I said, right, before I even watched the video, I knew exactly what he was going to say. Like, I didn't say it the same way as him, but he had, you know, legitimate critiques of the human rights abuses that were going on in Yugoslavia, you know, as would I. But he's also not telling the full story, right? It's not like they were an ethno-state that had no... Right, dialectical material analysis is more complicated than this person said. You know, Yugoslavia was a multi-ethnic socialist state who was bombed by the United States. And then James says, no, they were actually a genocidal ethno-state. And it's like, well, the development of the country's politics and economics was a lot more complex than that, which is, it's hard to explain in a TikTok. But under Tito, which went forward with a policy of socialism much different than that of the USSR, doing a lot of their own models as far as agriculture and stuff. Yugoslavia was able to greatly increase the standard of living of their people. And then after Tito, there was tons of IMF and World Bank and color revolution attempts, tons of, imperialist attempted infiltration that you would expect. And then there was the accusations of Yugoslavia committing a genocide, which then led to the U.S. essentially wiping out their infrastructure, wiping out their economy with bombings in the bombing of Yugoslavia, which Bernie supported based on, saying he wanted to do something about the genocide. So obviously my position on that is that I do not support the bombing. Of course I'm against the bombing of Yugoslavia as well as the IMF and World Bank infiltration. But then also I'm against the human rights abuses that took place under Milosevic. But, I haven't done the research on them that I have done with things like Xinjiang, China right now. It's not like, I would say I'm an expert on the human rights abuses that were going on in Yugoslavia. So maybe I shouldn't have liked that tweet from one of our younger writers. But again, I'm still against, of course, the bombing, and that's why I put the Mike Gravel picture up instead of Bernie, because I talked about Bernie's support for imperialism, including support for the bombing of Yugoslavia, and I think it's a more harmful trend on the left than people just supporting any country who's anti-U.S. It's a more harmful trend the people who are, pro-imperialist because they're because they hear about a human rights abuse, that their morality draws them to be like, oh yeah, let's bomb this place, they're doing human rights abuse. Hey, but that tweet was probably, the tweet that James was responding to probably was way too unbiased and way too unapologetically in favor of Yugoslavia. But I also disagree with his characterization of the country's history and of their political and economic system. But yeah, I understand why James tweeted that. I've come at him before. We don't always agree. So yeah. Interesting video though. How do you feel about what happened recently in Kenya? I don't know. I haven't been following it too well, unfortunately. Isn't that why Bernie and Parenti had a falling out? It is, yeah. Yep. Which is kind of funny because I probably lean more Parenti, and I think James is more of like a DSA style socialist, like a Bernie style socialist.